earphones on, earphones on. I feel like it's something that could exist in the background of an old 80s song while the main thing's going. Someone in the background going, earphones on, earphones on.
I'll bring our live, by the way.
Hello!
And welcome to the Smooth End of the Pineapple podcast, episode 6.
Episode 6! He's Scot McPhie!
And he's Matthew Bell. And Matt confided something in me in the just before we started. He made a very startling confession. You might like to repeat that, Matthew. Something I never thought I'd hear you say.
I can't remember what I confess so many things. I don't think you realise how many things I confess.
He said he has too many books.
Oh.
Well, let me qualify that. Right. Books that he hasn't all read. You can never have too many books.
Isn't that awful? I said yes. I said to Scott, I was standing here in this room, getting ready to sit down, put the headphones on, and I said, mate, I have so many books
all in the ones
this
behind
room
us
that I have only partially read. I used to have. What I started doing a while ago, I dedicated a shelf to books that I had not finished. And that quickly became 2 shelves.
Too depressing.
And then that became 3. And now they're just scattered. I was just looking through my shelves going, man, I never finished that one. I haven't finished that one. I started because I get another one and I'll start it.
But this is part of your retirement plan, though, I believe.
Oh yes, I did. That's you. See, this is what we were saying.
I remember everything.
This is what I said in that
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is what I said in that last episode when I said, if you don't write it down when you think of it, you forget it. Yes, I said to him, maybe that's my retirement plan. Maybe I'll just keep doing what I'm doing now. And then when we retire, I've got no money for anything and we're poor as, I can just start reading all the books that I've amassed over the years.
And when you can't afford your power bill, you can start burning them.
I can start burning the books, yeah. I can go and say to my wife, we're going to be warm tonight, dear. I just finished this one here.
War and peace. No one wants that.
We'll be warm for 3 days after this one, darling.
This is a big one. Anyway, now, Matthew, May the 10th, 2014. Where were you on that date?
May the 10th, 2014. I'd hazard a guess that we were at a place called Lock and Load.
No, wrong.
We were at a place called we were in the Fringe Festival.
No, wrong. This is why I'm the archivist.
This is why, yeah.
And I'll
hang on, May the 10th, 2014. Oh, that's 5 years ago.
Yes.
Oh my God. We were May the 10th. Well, May the 10th. Were we doing a live show?
It was our debut performance, and we were at the Holland Park Bowls Club in Holland Park. And we were actually going to be there on Friday the 9th, but you were sick. And that was probably really good timing because I think we only had 2 people in the audience for that night. Whereas it was full on the Saturday.
I called in sick for our first ever performance.
Yeah, and you're still under the weather in the second, and you did really, really well.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yes, it was. Oh, yeah.
No, look, it was a good choice.
I was turning around and coughing and spitting occasionally during the show.
The Saturday was a full house, though. And anyway, so look, we thought for this episode we would talk about our debut performance. So, what were your impressions beforehand, Matt? So we'd done the album. We wanted to do it live. I had the idea of wearing the white shirts and the bow ties, which would become a bit of a trademark look. Mm-hmm. And we weren't sure how many effects we could do ourselves, so we got Mitchell in. Well, I put an ad on one of those casting sites, Star Now, I think it was, looking for an audio person. So we had Mitchell behind us mixing, doing live effects, and you and I don't think we did any effects at that stage. We were just... doing the voice work.
Yeah. Dedicated voice guys.
Yes, and it was always, with Mitchell, it's just for this show, because we didn't even know if we were going to do any more after this. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, Matt, but I was so worried before that show. I thought the whole thing was going to be a disaster. I just remember thinking, I'm committed to doing this. I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter what happens. I'll just get it over and done with, and I'll never hear or see of it again. I honestly thought it was going to be terrible. And you know what? It was fantastic. Everyone raved about it. It was the biggest success I've ever had from all the different artistic projects I've been in. This is the one that's had the biggest positive response right after it. You know, some have been good, some have been bad, but not super bad. And, you know, a lot kind of in the middle, like this was good, but you should have done. This was the one thing where we smashed it out of the park and everyone raved about it afterwards. I just could not believe it.
Yeah, I don't think I remember making jokes with you, as wondering whether you were still a genuine artist because this was getting mainstream acceptance.
You can't have that. But no, look, I was so worried, and I get migraine headaches, and I remember I was having lots of vegetable drinks at the time and just hoping I can just focus and keep it together and everything's going to be fine and I'll just get this over and done with. I'm not going to cop out of it or anything. And it just turned out to be hugely, hugely successful, and it was amazing. And
since you mentioned the vegetable drinks, I remember I really noticed you doing that, and I thought, wow, this guy's got a real theatre process. Like I'd never met anyone who has a specific thing they drink for low tummy filling but high energy delivery.
Yeah, but
in a particular period. You were even thinking it. Yeah. I thought you even said something along the lines of this will really take effect at showtime, and I thought, wow.
Yeah, but I mean, if I don't get enough sleep and, you know, bright lights, migraines kind of thing, so that was part of trying to deal with that. But what I did in our most recent set of shows, which you shall remember, is the Tin Peaches.
Oh, the Tin Peaches.
I found them by accident. Early 90s, I was in a show at the Toowoomba Repertory Theatre. It was called A Hat Full of Rain, and I played a drug addict, a morphine Korean vet who was addicted to morphine. And it was quite a high energy performance, and, you know, nerves and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I don't know how I ever came across it, but I found Tin Peaches is the one thing that I can eat that sits so lightly in your tummy. And I did it again when I was doing the Crucible in Sydney. So lightly in your tummy, heaps of energy, full tummy, but it's light. And so, I don't know, I must have forgotten about it when we were doing our debut show, but I went back to it, and it works a treat. It's awesome. So I'm sticking with the Tin Peaches.
Well, I tell you what, if we really take off, if one day... When we take off and people know who we are, I want to see your face on tins of peaches, like Paul Newman's own pasta sauce.
Smooth into the peaches.
Yeah. Scot McPhie's own tin peaches.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Look, it was a fraught kind of experience, but it worked out really well in the end. So we did 3 performances on two weekends. What are you laughing for?
I love that people might tune in for this podcast, and we've had a good 3 minutes or so talking about tin peaches.
Do you remember that song, Millions of Peaches? Peaches come from a can that will put there by a man.
Really?
Presidents of the United States of America. If we had the rights to it, we play it now.
We play it now. I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah,
I've got rights to listen to it.
So anyway, look, I've written down a few reminiscences from there, but I've got, which people looking at the video will see, I've got a folder where I keep our posters and things, and the very first entry is our show from that Anywhere Festival. And Matt, here is our program. Mitchell Poloney, thought his last name was Poloney, I just wanted to double check. Hi Mitchell, if you're listening, thanks for your great work then too. Sorry I forgot your last name there. Matt, so here is our program. Maybe you might like to read out your entry in the program.
My entry in the program.
Probably haven't seen this since then.
I haven't. Matt Bell. Some people rock climb in their spare time. Some play footy. Some sew. And some watch TV. Then there are some who, because there is something inherently psychologically wrong with them, get up on stage and try to be funny in front of strangers. Matt Bell is one of these. And it's not just sketch comedy either. Oh no, he does stand-up comedy sometimes too. Is he not happy humiliating himself with a scene partner? He also feels some deranged need to stand there and do it all by himself as well? He's even done stage plays, indie films, and bits and pieces on TV. Never set the world on fire, but at least he'd occasionally get some small scraps of respect for it. But no, He's not happy with that, is he? He's got to go and do this now. What the hell is wrong with him? Why does he have to be such a complete wanker? God, I hate him. Anyway, have a great show, Matt. Warmest regards, Matt. And I was tripping up every now and again because there's no, I don't know what you call it, but like
the word wrapping happens in the middle of the word.
Yeah, when like there's like half the word, like S, if the word some, and then so is on one line, and then me is on the next line. So I'm not sure how we did that.
Yeah, I don't recall why it's like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's got layers.
It's terrible. It must have been.
He's not happy with that, is he? He's got to go and do this. What the heck is wrong with him? God, I hate him.
He's a sensitive artist, and there's an inner war going on.
That might be a little bit too revealing, actually.
Yeah, well, see, whereas I tried to reveal nothing. Is that thing rolling? It is. Okay. So, what do I want to say about myself? Well, actually, it's funny when we say, is it rolling? Because it's not like it's one of those old reel-to-reels. Nothing's actually going around, is it? No. But you see, it is actually recording. Yeah. Because, I don't see any flashing lights. You know, usually there's like a red flashing light. Oh, it's the numbers going around. Okay. Yeah, the counter. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, look, otherwise it's like it's in a pause or preview mode if they're not moving. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, look, when you get the recording level right, that's right? Okay. Yeah, look, I have used one of these ones. They're really good, aren't they? So, okay then, right. What do I want to say about myself? Okay, so, actually, just before we start, who's going to type this up afterwards? You are? Okay, oh, good. Because I'm not really good at that because, well, I'm just not good at that. It takes ages. Anyway, okay, so let's get it started. Right, it's rolling now. Levels are good. Okay, all right. I'll make this nice and quick so it fits in the program. Okay. So what I'd like to say about myself is, and we're out of space.
Oh, mate, very good work there because I
sidestepped it.
That was pretty much seamless to when you actually started reading. He started reading at, "Is this thing rolling?" He'd actually that was what he wrote in the program.
Yeah.
Very nice performance there.
Yeah, thank you. And look, I'll read out Mitchell's. What is comedy without the element of a silly sound effect? This is where Mitchell comes into it. In true 50s radio style, the smooth end of the pineapple comes with a sound designer playing cues and creating sounds live. Mitch certainly isn't devoid of credentials, having been electrocuted and great credential, and has even set microphones on fire. He's also been known to throw bricks into old car engines, perform music with a CD rack, and has done a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. recording session with nothing but white goods in the studio, all in the name of sound design. So it's perfectly suited for this.
Yeah.
Here would also be a great place to mention Mitchell has completed a degree in music technology, but that's not really worth the paper this bio is written on. In any case, you'll find in this show classic comedy sounds being created right before your eyes and ears. It's so hard to read with the word breaking like that. I don't know how that happened. We must have seen it and decided, that's funny, let's leave it in.
Oh, probably. Or decided, we don't know how to fix that, let's leave it in.
It's intentional, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's an artistic choice.
Yeah. So in this folder, we just have a poster program and a few posters with that weird hybrid guy on the front.
The weird hybrid guy. You mean the beautiful hybrid guy?
No, or the weird hybrid guy.
At the very least, the half beautiful hybrid guy.
Yeah, which half?
If I don't stand up for myself, who will?
Exactly. Okay. So anyway, that's what I have there. Now, I want to tell you one of my funnest memories from that show. So we did it at the Holland Park Bowls Club, and there was people who worked at the Bowls Club and played bowls there, came in to have a look. There was another room next to us. There was a theatre group called the Stand Depp Ensemble. If you remember them, they were doing a play. And
How
a couple
do
of these
you remember? Where's that written down?
It's in my brain.
You can't remember that.
Yeah, I do. They were really nice, and a couple of them came in and watched our show. And I felt sorry for them because they tried really hard. They had small audiences, but it was a very intense piece they were doing, and we had a bit of overlap, but we didn't conflict at the same time. So we got to hear a bit of theirs, and they got to hear a bit of us. And I just thought, oh, you poor guys, it's independent theatre, it's a hard road.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was this one gentleman who I think worked at the Bowls Club, and do you remember, Matt? He used to work on radio. He was a Kiwi. He worked in Radio New Zealand back in the 50s and 60s, and his job was to record the Goon Show. I don't know how they transmitted it from Britain. Obviously, it was before satellites, must have been repeaters. So I don't know. Well, anyway, his job was to record the incoming Goon shows from England, and they would record them, and then they'd play them a week later. So they'd get them the week before they were due to be played. and he loved the Goon Show. And he used to just circulate those tapes amongst his mates, actually. And he said he was really looking forward to seeing us because the Goon Show, one of the things we'd mentioned in our blurb or our ad or whatever. And yeah, the fact that guy was there then, and then he loved our show as well, that just meant heaps. That was awesome. Yeah. And just getting close to someone who was there back when the Goons were doing it, and they were even pirating it back then. That was just a wonderful, wonderful memory.
Yeah, that's like those sketches I'd not thought of. I'd not thought of that guy for so long.
Yeah, he was a really nice old gentleman.
What a wonderful job.
Yeah. And then we had this young reviewer, Nick, can't remember his last name, and the start of his review was something along the lines of, I felt a bit of apprehensive because there were 3 generations in the audience there, and I was the youngest. But as soon as the show started, I felt right at home. Something like that. Do you remember this?
Was it Nick Park?
I don't know. I think we've on our webpage. I think we've got a quote of his. But anyway, he was, and that was great because our generation, probably Generation X, the generation above us, we get this style of humour just right away, and we weren't sure how younger guys would get it. And literally within the first sentence or joke or whatever, they just relaxed and loved it as well, and we really worked across the 3 generations. It was, and Nick putting it in his review was really nice.
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah,
wasn't his title "Give These Guys a Sketch
Yes,
Show"?
yes, yeah.
That's a good start.
You remember that?
I remember that bit. Yeah.
And I also remember there was someone turned up to photograph it, and I believe your better half said to him, "Oh, they're a bit like Monty Python and the Goons," and he said, "Yeah, well, I'll be the judge of that." And then afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, they were really good."
And that was good. Wasn't that good that he was willing to?
Yeah,
willing to say that after what he'd said at the beginning. Yeah,
it's really nice to when you win people over. So my recollections of that show was being as nervous as hell, and then it just being such a success.
And that was a lovely photo shoot at the beginning too.
That's right.
We hauled an armchair and a standing lamp onto the bowling green.
Yeah, and that photo, I don't think I've got it here in my book. It's still on the bottom of our webpage. And yeah, I'm looking like this weird psycho with this microphone, and you're sitting in this armchair looking very astute, stretching your fingers. And I showed that to my wife, Jenny, and she looked at it and went, When it's comedy, you got to look stupid. It doesn't matter. That's the point.
That speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it?
I don't care.
From your better half.
Yes. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So that was kind of out there. But yeah, that was a very good photo shoot. It looked great. Yeah, and that article is on our webpage. You can have a look at that.
Man, we've done some fun stuff with all of this.
And you know, I think I've told you this story, Matt. One of my loveliest memories ever, actually, was the following week. Must have been after the Saturday night when we finished. I drove home, and I was living in Toowoomba at that stage. And, you know, once you pack up and everything, it's really late, and then it's about an hour and a half to get home. And I really like Tony O'Connor's music. Do you know Tony O'Connor? Dearly departed now. Does very popular new age kind of mixing in environmental sounds with lovely orchestral music.
I will listen to some.
Yeah, and anyway, so I was listening to his stuff, and I was driving home on the edge of Toowoomba. There's a big garden called Boyce Gardens. The Boyce family used to own it. They're on a couple of acres in Mount Lofty on the edge of the range. It's the last remnant rainforest in Toowoomba. So huge big bunya pines, thick forest. I was driving past there around about just after midnight. I was on such a high because the show had gone so well, and I was feeling so good. And this gorgeous, and it was just moonlight, beautiful moonlit night, just where everything's glowing. This gorgeous piano melody from Tony O'Connor's music. And as I went past this rainforest, they've got the nature strip mode with a few trees in it, and there were two possums chasing each other and dancing around in the moonlight.
No.
And I swear, like, I was on high from the show. The music was beautiful. The possums were playful. It was a moonlit night. And for about 10 seconds, the universe was perfect. It was just, I'll never forget that. It was just beautiful. Yeah. So
what a wonderful, man. What a great way to finish a show. Exactly. Oh, my God.
Exactly. I'll have to find that track. It's either on his Uluru or Kakadu album. I'll find out and mention it in one of the things. So anyway,
it's hard to match the high of a good show.
Yeah. Yeah.
A well-received show, I should say. It's not
exactly.
up to us, I think, whether it's a good one, but it's well-received, we can certainly know.
Yeah, it is impossible. Like, it's just beautiful. Okay, so... look, maybe I should have selected more, but I've got 2 tracks here from the recording. We recorded those shows, so we can take you back now to May the 10th, 2014, and play 2 of the tracks. So, as I said, that first show was just the first album. So we just ran through and did the whole album straight through. So now this is where I was one of the first times I was attuned to the genius of Matt Bell.
I love doing this.
Anyone who can come up with the line, "This foreskin saw the Ice Age," is a genius. Here we go.
Sex, the physical act. Some of us want more, some of us want less. Some of us even want a microphone stand that stays still. Some want it longer, some want it shorter. And for some, microphones that don't work are also an issue. Humankind has tried any number of remedies, tonics, herbs and chemical compounds to enhance the sexual experience, but none have ever yielded consistent and verifiable results, until now, with the discovery of the very real, very positive effects of a completely natural but regrettably rare commodity. Here at this dig in Iceland is where it all begins, with Dr. Gary Pinto, mammoth foreskin archaeologist.
Well, Anthony, the demand for good mammoth foreskin is really starting to gain momentum. The first time I held a mammoth foreskin in my hands, well, how can you describe a moment like that? I was thinking, this foreskin saw the Ice Age. I mean, it was awe-inspiring. Bit disgusting as well, but mainly awe-inspiring.
So does it work? One person who's been successfully cooking with mammoth foreskin for some time now is Emily Diabetes Jenkinson.
Well, I've been putting mammoth foreskin in roast chitlins for about 18 months now. And I tell you, after supper, he just turned into a whole new man.
One man has even taken a much more professional approach to what he refers to as foreskin cuisine. This is Jock McJock Angus, foreskin chef extraordinaire.
I've been working with the Pachyderm foreskin for about 3 years now. They make great encapsulation for haggis. See, the thing about haggis, tasty though it is, from an ingredients point of view, there's not much you can do to make it any worse. So if you're an average haggis connoisseur, the prospect of putting in a foreskin doesn't really make them think twice.
Back to Dr. Pinto.
Well, in all honesty, Anthony, I do find that many people are quite worried about the upfront costs involved in sponsoring an archaeological mammoth foreskin dig. But what these prospective sponsors must understand is that a single skin, when divvied up correctly, Anthony, can keep that prospective sponsor in foreskin for up to 5 years.
So how does a lower class cabbage leaf like Nancy afford mammoth foreskin, something which many would argue would be classified in most household budgets as a luxury item?
Well, Anthony, we want our mammoth foreskins to be available to all. And that's why we've introduced a scheme whereby a group of people can form what we call a skindicate, in which the funds required for a dig are contributed in equal shares by each member.
We're told that you've also started researching the properties of the anus of this creature and of other animals.
Oh yes, Anthony. We've been thinking of branching into A&I for some years now. We want to finish the proper research first, though. Don't want to get ourselves into a tight spot. You get it? Anus, a tight spot. I do a little bit of stand-up on the side. A little bit.
And so where from here? What does the future hold for these trailblazers, these bold men and women who are willing to reach out when others would shy away? Here's the last word from Jock Angus.
When I visualise myself in 10 or 15 years, I can see myself owing a long and happy career to foreskin.
Well, there you go.
Oh, I didn't even realise you had an audio recording of that.
I have it all.
You have it all. My God, I'm starting to wonder what else you have now. What have I confided?
I just love
over
that
the years?
sketch. The concept of that sketch.
I must say, I really enjoyed listening to it. There's one thing I think I remember saying to you a few months ago, or maybe not even a few months ago, when we were getting the last show together. It finally hit me that I am no longer going to hate anything I do creatively. I don't know if you remember me saying that, but I've spent all through my life, every time I drew a cartoon, every time I drew anything, every time I wrote anything, it was always, it's not quite good enough. I could only see what was wrong with it. And it's been wonderfully freeing in that now I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to be happy with what I do. Yeah. Once I've got it to a point. And I really enjoyed listening to that.
That's great. It's a very funny sketch. The voice work is great. The concept is out of this world. I remember that was one of the early ones when we were exchanging scripts, and I just laughed and laughed. This foreskin saw the Ice Age. Who thinks of that?
I know. Someone with, I think someone with deep problems.
What kind of mind comes up with this?
Yeah. Someone with problems.
Dude. Yeah, no, that's great.
Thank you.
Well, now look.
So glad you played that.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I thought as a contrast we might move towards the intellectual scale.
Let's get one of yours. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is another one. And I recall we actually poured water on stage in the middle of this sketch. And every time we've done it, we've had, and I just don't know if I'd even do that now, like water and electrical plugs and cords all around you. Anyway, okay, so here's another one from
The Folly of Youth, but not really youth.
Yeah, from May the 10th, 2014. Here we go.
Hello, I'd like to patent this.
What is it? A tube? A cylinder?
A bottomless cup.
What?
A bottomless cup. Fill that and it will never run out.
Well, it'll never run out because you can never fill it.
Exactly. So it's a bottomless cup. It never runs out.
You can't patent that because it's not bottomless. Well, it is bottomless, but it's not bottomless. It's never endlessly full because it's always empty. You think 0 and infinity are the same thing?
Yes, and I want to patent it and prove it.
You think by coming in here with a piece of plastic tube you can overturn 5,000 years of established mathematical thought?
Yes.
Well, what else have you got in your port? Stripy paint? Left-handed screwdrivers? World peace?
No.
Well, you can't patent that because it's not bottomless.
Well, show me the bottom on it.
Look, 0 and infinity are not the same thing.
Yes, they are. Any real number divided by 0 is infinity, and any real number divided by infinity is 0. The Cartesian number plane isn't flat. It exists on the surface of a sphere, and 0 and infinity are just opposite lateral poles, and negative infinity is the same thing as positive infinity. They meet on the opposite side to 0, and they're both neutral.
And you get all that from this tube?
Cup. And yes, I do.
All right, you can patent it then.
Would you like a celebratory drink?
Why not? Ah! That's gone straight through the bottom onto my foot.
Well, I never said it was useful.
Alrighty, that's the tube patent.
The tube patent.
Yes, I used to hurt my voice talking like this for so long.
That was a lovely show.
Yeah.
That was and as you said, it proved to us, I think, that we could do something. It was the first. Yeah, it was the first one.
I was taken aback by how popular it was, but you know, I mean, there's popularity to the people right in front of you, and then there's the ability to actually capitalise or spread on it or get, you know, make it bigger, which is always kind of a bit hard.
That big leap between to actually get someone to take the time out of their day to listen to it.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, that show, and that sketch. I mean, that was one where, I mean, when I was in school in my last year, I did actually write a mathematical paper about 0 and infinity being the same, and I sent it off to a mathematician, and he's like, But anyway, look, I mean, if you can't prove it in a comedy sketch, where can you prove it?
Yeah, thanks, kid. You should send that to him. Track that guy down, send this to him.
Yeah, he's probably
say,
on
there
board
you
now.
go.
Yeah, I showed you, mate, didn't I?
Yeah. Just don't do it like if he's gone. Yeah. Don't be standing over his grave.
Yes.
Look at this. Someone will ring the police.
Yeah, they will think I'm even madder. But yeah, so that was our first show. So maybe I should have actually selected a few other clips. I don't have them on me, so that's all I can take from the live recording right here, right now.
Oh,
but I did want to leave some of the other sketches to talk about on another time. So anyway, well, that might just wrap up this episode of the Smooth End of the Pineapple podcast.
Thank you so much for listening, people.
Yes, and let me check my notes. Nothing else I need to say.
Nothing
Blank
else.
page.
Blank,
okay.
blank. I might write something for... Yeah, I might write some notes down, maybe.
Yeah.
He's written all the notes.
Yeah.
He's had all the pre-planning.
Well, we've done 6 now, so we'll have to work out another batch. But anyway, Matt, well, this has been awesome. So our first
I've had a
lots of
great time.
podcasts have been good. So look us up, everyone, online, smoothpineapple.com, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the other Twitter. It's all happening.
Yes, audio, animation,
Yeah.
bits. Are there any live action things on there available?
No. And that's something even,
That doctor one would be good.
Yeah, it's just kind of been out of our means to like do a really good job filming the show as well. We've filmed a couple where we've just had a camera up the back, and I don't actually want to put them online because
They're not.
It looks kind of crappy, to be honest, and it doesn't capture the atmosphere. We really need a couple of cameras close up to get the atmosphere. So,
Our show, when you've got essentially a dark room with a small lit area at the front with a couple of guys, it's very difficult to capture that nicely on film. Without it grainy and awful.
Yeah, and you need like operators on the cameras so they're moving and they're kind of tight shots. But anyway, that's something
we
we'll
might
look
be
at.
able to sort that out.
Yeah.
But
Some stage. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to today's episode.
as much as we've enjoyed talking into the microphone.
Yes. And we'll be back with episode 7.
But back a little bit further.
Yes.
It would be a lot of fun to do it this close.
But we lose the listeners by the droves.
This is our... Tune in for our After Dark podcasts later to be announced at some point in the future.
That's right.
If we don't get in trouble.
Yeah. If our wives let us. Okay.
If we're like, yeah.
Right, everyone. So we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you next on episode 7. Bye.
Bye.